Hello, everyone. So sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late. I was having some technical difficulties with my printer. So let's go ahead and see who's on. Let's see if I can get this up and then we'll get going. I want you to take a look at this little flyer. This seasonal sale Stampin' Up! Is having starts tomorrow, and that's on Mountain Time. So here in the Pacific Northwest, that sale will actually start at 11:01 p.m. tonight. So let's see if I can get Facebook to play nice with me and see if I can find. There we go. There we go. Okay, playing nice. Yay! Hello, Tracy. Hello, hello. Whew. Probably wondering if I was actually coming on. I'm usually not late, but I was trying to print this seasonal sale flyer and it came out blank. So, as I said, the seasonal sale will start tomorrow. There is 20% off bundles. These are all from the annual catalog, by the way, the 2024-2025 Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. Bundles in the catalog are normally sold when you use the bundle item code at 10% off. So Stampin' Up! Is going to give you an additional 10% off of that for a total of 20%. So any of the annual catalog stamp and die bundles or stamp and punch bundles, you can purchase at 20% off between November 13th and the 15th. Now again, as I remind you, with this sale starting at 11:01 p.m. Pacific time, it also ends an hour earlier at 10:59 p.m. Pacific time on the 15th. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's how it works. So if you try to go to the sale on November 15th at 11:01 p.m. here in the Pacific Northwest, that sale will already be over. So don't wait until the last minute. And all of these supplies that are on sale are while supplies last. So not only do we have the bundles, there's 20% off all the designer series paper in the annual catalog, 10% off cardstock, and 10% off ink. Now, the ink includes Stampin' Blends and some other things as well. And I don't know what they're doing with cardstock except for the Close to My Heart. The cardstock is not included in the sale. So you will want to go to the website and look under seasonal sale, go down, go to the little hamburger sign, the little 3 lines, hit the menu, go down to sale, and then check out that seasonal sale when you click on that. Okay, and then that will show you everything that's on sale and the price that it is at. Okay, so just to get that explained, let's move on. I know last year envelopes were included in that cardstock sale, so I don't know if those will be included this year or not, but you definitely will want to check before you place your order, depending on what you're out of. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Laura. So glad you could make it. So as you can see, the featured stamp set this week is Dear Santa. I'm going to mix and match all of these images with other stamp sets to make some unique cards. And the idea of that is to teach you to look in your crafty stash, see what you already have that you might be able to pair together to make some unique, cool cards to send out to your friends and family. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a very simple card. And this one I'm actually not pairing with another stamp set. This is and I mean simple card. We are not doing anything super fancy here. Easy and quick. I am going to pull in the Regal Flora Designer Series paper. This is from the mini catalog. Okay. And these are papers that are in the suite, and the stamp and die bundle that go with that is actually a floral set. So we're not using the florals in any way other than the designer series paper. And this is what it looks like. It is a beautiful set of paper. I've used it for several different projects, some boxes and other things. But tonight we're going to make a very quick card. Okay, so I've got a piece of the designer series paper, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a basic thick basic white card base, and this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it in the center at 4 1/4. And if you don't usually score your cardstock, you really want to score the thick white cardstock. It doesn't look really nice if you don't. So scoring is the best option for this. This is going to be a landscape card. And we're not doing anything special with this piece, so we're going to go ahead and just add that to our card base. I'm going to move things over here a little bit so I can get to them better. Okay, so we've got that, and we'll just add this. And already the designer series paper is kind of the star of the show. And you could simply put a sentiment here and a ribbon, some embellishments, and be done. But that's not usually my style. So we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to bring in a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock, and this is cut at 2 7/8 by 4 3/8. And then we've got a piece of basic white. This is not the thick, this is just the regular. And this is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. So this piece of cherry cobbler is just 1/8 of an inch bigger so that we can map that. But we're going to do some stamping on this. So let's go ahead, and I actually forgot to pull out one of my stamps. So let's do that and mount that on a block real quick. We're just going to put that on there. We're going to get out some Memento Tuxedo Black. And we're going to stamp this right in the middle. Now, if you're wondering about my Tuxedo Memento Black ink pad, I have the regular Tuxedo Memento Black, but I have taken our white craft pad, which comes empty, and it comes empty with a bottle of white ink refill. And I've just taken my craft stamping pad, and instead of putting the white ink on it, I put the Memento Tuxedo Black refill in it. I think you get a much better image using this firm foam pad. So that's what I've done. Now I'm going to go ahead, and before I stamp this, I'm going to bring in a blending brush, and I'm going to bring in some Night of Navy ink. Okay. And we're going to do just a little bit of ink blending here in the background. Okay. So let's pull out some, ooh, that's way, way more than I'll need. We really just want just a tiny little bit here. And I'm going to try and stay away from my image here. So I'm going to go around it without going on it, is the idea. Okay. Just put a little bit of color so it kind of looks like there's some sky in the background there. or something. Okay, just a real light, just for some interest in the background. Now we're going to go ahead and wipe this up. Where did I hide those? I have a brand new pack of baby wipes, and they don't fit in the thinner drawer that I had my last pack in. So let's just set that off to the side. We'll go ahead and make sure that's nice and dry. All right, there we go. Now let's go ahead and color this image. I'm going to bring in our Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to start with a little bit of light bubble bath. And I'm going to put that just on her little socks or shoes, whatever we have there. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the light. These are the Natural Tones blends. I'm going to use the medium light SU 700 and the light SU 900. We're going to start with the medium light SU 700. And I'm just going to put just some little cheeks here. And then we're going to add our skin tone. Okay. And I'm staying away from the eyes here. I want to preserve the whites of those eyes. Excuse me. Hands. And I think that's it. Okay. I'm gonna put just a little bit here extra just to give a little bit of shadow right there. Okay. And then we're going to go with our light and dark Blackberry Bliss. And let's start with dark. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to open up my light. And then I'm going to add a little bit of dark here in the bow. And then I'm going to go back with the light and blend that together and finish it up. Okay. And then we're going to repeat that on her shirt. A little bit of dark. Go underneath her chin where there'd be a shadow. Okay. And then we're going to go back with the light. Okay. And I think that's good there. You guys, I have a sneeze coming. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Hopefully it'll just be one, but that's not usually the case. Okay, so we've got those. Now let's grab the light and dark Lost Lagoon. And we're going to use this for her, excuse me, for her pants. And while I'm doing that, I'm looking for the right light gray granite in the other bin that I have. Okay, so I'm going to pull the light and the dark. And again, I'm going to start with my dark. And I'm going to go where there would be some shadows here. Okay. And I'm actually going to make her socks there. And then I'm going to go with the light. Okay, now her pants are done. All right, so we've got that. And then we're going to need some, I'm going to go with a little bit of light and dark. Whoop, that's not the right one. Light and dark pecan pie for her hair. Okay, so we've got the dark and the light. Let's start with the dark. Put a little bit where I would see some shadows. And here on the artist lines, just to give a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to go back with the light. And I'm going to fill in and blend that hair. Okay, so we've got all that. So she is pretty much colored, and the only thing that we have left then is the light gray granite, and I just want to take with the light gray granite, and I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow just so this paper doesn't look completely left like we didn't color it. Okay, so we'll just take a little bit here where there would be a shadow. Okay, that looks good. And then with that, then we're going to take the color lifter and I'm just going to blend that out a bit and lighten it. And I'm trying to stay away from the black ink. Okay, so there we go. Our little girl now is colored. She does need just a tiny bit of petal pink right here. Light petal pink. Okay, and now she is finished. So we can go ahead and set her to the, we're done with her except for, let's take and add our sentiment. I told you this was a simple card. We're going to add our sentiment right on our panel here. Just like that. And then we're going to add this panel. To the cherry cobbler ink. Let's grab my third hand here. Okay. And now we're ready to add this to our card base. All right. And then let me just roll that on my silicone mat to get it started. My computer was about to restart itself. Sorry, you guys, I got distracted. I told it to remind me to restart it next century. Okay, and there you have it. That is pretty simple. Now, I could add embellishments, but I really felt like if I added anything, it would kind of detract. So I did not. And here is the inside of our card. And we're going to take the friends and family are the true gift of Christmas. And before I put my strip on, I'm going to stamp that. Again, I'm going to stick with my black ink. I'm carrying that message through. And in case you're wondering, this particular sentiment comes from Peaceful Seasons. This is a great little stamp set. It has the outside sentiments along with some inside sentiments, so you have everything you need. I really like when they do that. It makes it so you can use one stamp set for all your sentiments and be happy, just mixing and matching them. So we're going to put this right here. Let that ink transfer. And then we're going to add a strip of that same designer series paper to the bottom, just to dress it up a bit. I'm just going to stick this in. I like to leave just a tiny little white border at the bottom when I put mine on. I also like to leave my strip a little bit on the long side so that I have to trim a tiny bit, because I'd rather trim a tiny bit than not have it long enough by a tiny bit. Okay, so now we'll take this, add this to our card, and that made a pretty simple, easily replicatable Christmas card if you needed to mass produce. Okay, and then to go along with that, I've got a matching envelope, also using that designer series paper. I've taken for the front of it, and I added this little Santa cap, and that comes from the Naughty and Nice online exclusive set. So just look around and see what you have in your crafty stash, and then stamp it on your envelope for just a little bit of an extra. I thought the little Santa hat went really well with the sentiment. Okay, so there's our first card. Our next card is not quite as simple. As you know, simple's hard for me. So here we go. Let's go ahead. I'm going to clean up a couple of things real fast, just so I don't end up with ink where I don't want it. Okay. All right. And I don't need these two, so I'm going to set them completely aside. And we will move to the next tub. All right, so this next card, let me put these away, uses several sets. I'm also using Smoky Slate ink, Flirty Flamingo ink, and Garden Green ink. And I've got my pack of pieces here. I'm using the Peaceful Season dies. This goes along with that sentiment set that I just used on the previous card. Okay, so these are the matching dies, and we're going to use this on our second card tonight. So we'll set that. We're also using the Take a Bow paper. I love this pack of paper. It's so wonderful and so Christmassy. Works for just about everything. We're going to be using the red polka dot pattern on this one. Okay, so we've got that. We're using the Exposed Brick 3D embossing folder. And we're going to be using Sophisticated Sled. I'm going to be using the wreath image out of here. And we're going to be using Humble Home. And Humble Home, I'm pretty much using on the envelope and the inside sentiment. And then this little Merry Christmas on the outside. Okay, so like I told you, we're using multiple things. And then I've also got some gold twisted thread. This came out in the online exclusives at the beginning of the month. And then I'm going to use a product that I haven't done much using online. It's been out for a while. We're going to be using some pearlized enamel effects dots. I'm using the Real Red from the basic collection. And then we're going to be using the silver and gold from the metallic collection. So the basics collection comes in white, red, and black. And you get copper, gold, and silver in the metallics. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start with our stamping so that I can show you that and it can get drying. So let's do that. Okay, so again, we're going to pull out the Tuxedo Memento Black. And I'm going to hope that this piece of paper will do both of my images. So from Dear Santa, I'm using the boy and girl decorating the Christmas tree. Nope, that won't fit that way. Hopefully this will fit both of them. If not, I'll grab an extra piece. Okay, so we've got that. And that's going to be too close for my comfort. Let me grab another piece that I have handy here. And then from the Sophisticated Sled, we're using this wreath. So we'll just stamp that down. Again, in the Memento. Okay, I'm not going to show you how I colored all of this. I'm just going to show you a little bit. So let's start with the wreath. So these are my Stampin' Blends, and I also have a garden green Stampin' Right marker because we don't have a blend in this color. And I really wanted the garden green to pull in and tie in that paper. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my Stampin' Right marker. And I'm going to color this little set of leaves. I'm just going to color one set of each of these in the different colors, just so you can see how I did it, because I already have one done. So I'm just going to color these in the garden green. And of course, there's two other sets of those, and I would do those also in the garden green. Let's go to the light and dark Flirty Flamingo. Okay, let's take those off. All right, then I've got the dark. So I'm going to take these kind of flat looking leaves here. I'm going to take my dark and put a little bit of the dark here. And I would go around and do all of those sets with my dark. And then go back with my light. And finish that up. All the way around the wreath. Okay. So we've got that. Then we're going to take the light and dark Granny Apple Green. Both Garden Green and Granny Apple Green are in that Take a Bow paper. So again, we're going to start with the dark. And I'm going to take this bigger set of leaves and I'm just going to put some dark at the base. And anywhere there's an overlap here. And then I'm going to go back with the light. And I would do all three of the sets. Okay, and then I would have my wreath pretty much colored in. Okay, now if you don't have the enamel effects and you don't want them, you could just use dark real red, the dark and light real red on the berries. But this is where I'm going to pull in my pearlized enamel effects in the real red. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fill in my berries with the enamel effects. Okay, so we just go around and fill all those in. And then you'll want to set this aside somewhere to dry for about 10 to 15 minutes. And trust me, you want to set it away from you so you don't accidentally bump it. Okay, so there's our wreath. And through the magic of television, here is a completed one and dry. So let me set this completely out of the way and let's move to our little kids here. Now I did cut this out. This has a matching die and I did cut that out with the matching die. Okay, so for the girl, I used Flirty Flamingo and dark and light real red on her dress. I'm not going to go ahead and color this. And then what I am going to show you is how I did her hair. So to do her hair, we're going to pull in light and dark wild wheat and dark crumb cake. I'm going to start with my wild wheat. And I'm going to, let me get this so I can hold on to that. I'm going to put a little bit of dark here, and I'm going to go and flick where the artist has those lines, and there at the part, I want some extra color. And again, I'm going to flick at the artist's lines. I'm going to go in here at her braid, because this would all be dark. And then we'll put a little bit at the crown of her head, and a little bit here at the base of her neck. And then I'm going to take my wild wheat and I'm going to finish filling that in and blend that in really nicely. Okay, and then to give it a little bit of extra dimension, I'm going to take my dark crumb cake and I am going to, oh, what did I put? Oh, there it is. I'm like, where did I put my sample card? I'm just going to pull in some stripes here just to make this look like it's coming down. Give that hair a little bit of texture. Okay, and that's going to kind of blend in. All right, so there's her hair. And I colored in his pants in the light and dark smoky slate. Then I used, well, let me bring in my piece, okay, so you can see what this looks like. Got some light crumb cake for his shoes, granny apple green here. For his face, I used 500 and 700. The 500 is the dots on his cheekbones, and then his skin color is the 700. For her, I used 700 and 900, with 700 being her cheek blush, and then 900 being the skin tone. I wanted them to look a little bit different. Okay, use real red and granny apple green on his cap, light gray granite on the white to give it just a little bit of a shadow, pecan pie light on the tree trunk. And then this again, I pulled in those metallic dots to fill in my ornaments rather than color them. This gives them a little bit of a metallic shine. Okay, and then I'm going to pull in some copper or some gold. So let's put a gold one here and a gold one here. And then we'll put silver here and here. Okay. And when that dries, which we're going to set that aside again, then I fussy cut my image, and here it is. Okay. I'm so glad you guys liked that last card. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this card together. We're going to set those aside for the moment. Let's bring in our card base. So for our card base, I have a thick basic white card base, and I've scored this at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. But I've got this score at the 4 1/4 on this side, so I'm going to flip it to this side, and I'm going to score at the 2 1/8. Okay. And I'm doing that because I'm going to take my valley score and turn it into a mountain fold here at the 4 1/4. And I'm going to give that a good press with my bone folder. And then I'm going to take and fold this back, which in essence takes that valley score and turns it into a mountain fold. And then I'll have a nicer, crisper fold here on the front. Okay, so that's our card base. Now let's go ahead and set this aside for just a minute. We're going to bring in a piece of basic white, and this piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I've run this through the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. So when I did this, I just took and put the piece of basic white along the black line and ran that through with base plate 1 and 4 for the 3D embossing folder with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to take my smoky slate ink and I'm going to do paper ink to paper. Okay, so I'm going to hold my paper parallel to the surface and my ink pad parallel to the cardstock, and I'm going to very gently and lightly, barely touching, run that down. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to do the same thing, and it's a little bit harder when you're holding it up. Just parallel here, very lightly, barely touching because I don't want a bunch of smears. Okay, so it's a very, very light touch. All I'm trying to hit is those raised edges on the 3D. Now I'd really like to hit this section right here that I keep missing. There I go. Okay, got that. All right, so now I'm going to take this piece that looks like distressed brick now. I'm going to put this, now remember this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we're going to put this into a trimmer, and I'm going to trim this at 2 inches. So I'll have 2 1/8 on the right side and 2 inches on the left side. And we're going to add that to our card base. So I'm just going to take some liquid glue because that's my glue of preference whenever I'm doing 3D embossing folders. I think it sticks the best. And I try to get all my corners. Whoops, that was a bit much. Hang on. If you get a bit much where you don't want it, just take your silicone mat and get rid of that. That'll dry up and I can just wipe that off my silicone mat, trying to get all of my corners. Okay. And then I'm going to place this piece here on the front like so. Okay. And then I'm going to take my 2 1/8 inch piece and I'm going to add that to the inside left hand of my card. Okay. And then we'll try to center that up so that we have a nice even border on 3 sides. And try to align the top and the bottom of those 2 pieces together. And that way, when my card is closed, it'll look like that. Okay, so it looks like I have a nice even panel here. All right, so let's go ahead and add the rest of our pieces here. So I've got a piece of garden green cardstock and a piece of the Take a Bow paper. Take a Bow is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and this is 1/8 of an inch bigger, so 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, so we are going to add these 2 pieces together, and I'm just going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. Okay, try to get that a nice even border. And then we're going to add our little peoples here and our wreath here, like so. And I'm going to pop all of that up. Okay, so let's grab the dimensionals here. So we're just going to add one here and here and here. And I know I probably do overkill on the dimensionals, but I don't want this to crush in the mail. So we're going to grab some minis as well, just to make sure that the top part of my stuff is fully supported. And I want to get the legs supported, so I'm going to take some edge pieces here. I'm just going to cut some edge pieces. And support those little legs. And then I'm going to take one more small piece and put that on the pom-pom of his hat to support that. Okay. And one more little piece. Yes, I know it's probably overkill, but my card is not going to fall apart. And I'm going to support that tree stand there. Okay, so let's go ahead. An easy way to get these backings off is to take your little, I use the head of my tweezers. You could use take your pick tool, your fingernail, and just pop those up. And then hopefully they'll just peel right off for you because they popped up. Of course, when you're on camera, there's no guarantees that anything will work. because that's just the nature of the beast. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not throwing these on the floor. I have a little garbage sack hanging on my desk here that I'm popping those into. Okay, so let's go ahead and dry fit our wreath. And then I'm aiming to set my tree flat and centered here. So let's do that. We've got that. Oh, I've got a backing hung here on this. There we go. It doesn't want to go away. Okay, so now let's take our wreath, and again, we're just going to put some dimensionals here. And with this one, fortunately, I don't think I need to get too carried away. Pop, pop, and pop. Okay, got those. And then we'll add this. Okay, let's see. To add this. Like this. I'm trying to get this open green spot up here with this pink at the bottom. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to add our sentiment to this. And for that, we need a very small piece of white. So let me grab, I probably have an extra little piece just hanging here from when I just, oh, because it's still attached to that. Okay, so here we're going to take Merry Christmas from the Humble Home. And I'm going to stamp this down in garden green, like so. And then I'm going to pull in those Peaceful Seasons dies. And as you can tell, all of these are too big. So we're going to do what I like to do a lot. I'm going to take this particular banner and I'm going to shorten it because it's too long for what I want. So we're going to bring in our mini machine and place 1 and 2. And I'm going to put the Merry Christmas part at the top. And then I'm going to take my plate 2 and I'm going to slide that out and I'm going to leave that with halfway through the A and the S so that it won't cut there. Okay. And then I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to slide this down and lock it into those grooves that I just made. Okay, and that's feeling like it's locked in pretty well. Okay, are you? Yep, you are locked in. And then I'll just tape that up. And now I'm just going to go, a little over 1/3 of the way through that, just enough so that I know that I'm cutting where I haven't already cut, but I don't really want to cut where I did cut. And then we'll set this aside. Get rid of these because we don't need those for the moment. And then when we pull this off, we have shortened our tag from this to this, which makes your labels a lot more versatile. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add this to the front of our card. And we're going to put that right here. And this is already popped up. So we're just going to put a Stampin' dimensional here. right in the center of our sentiment and add that to the wreath like that. Okay, now this piece is almost finished and ready for our card. Well, actually, let's go ahead and put this on our card and then we'll finish it off. So this is going to go on here like so. I'm going to center this up, but I need to ensure that I don't put any adhesive on this side, otherwise I'll seal that card shut. So I'm only going to go halfway here. So in this case, I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Oops. Okay. And then I'm going to add this and center it up and give it a good press down. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull that open. And I want to burnish that down so that glue really adheres. And now when you open it up, you have this. Okay. So for the centerpiece here, you could just stamp on this or just write, do whatever. But what I have done, because if you've followed me for very long, you know I like to put a piece of white so somebody can pull it out and forward this on if they so choose. So I've taken a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is 1 7/8 by 4 and 3 by 5 3/8. And I am going to center this up between that piece and the score line, lining those up like so. The Let's Decorate the Season with Happiness. This sentiment comes from the Sophisticated Sled Stamp Set, and that heart is second generation Flirty Flamingo, and that is from the Humble Home. Now, on my original card, I used From Our Home to Yours, which is also from the Humble Home stamp set. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this up. We have one more thing to put on here. Okay, so let's grab that gold cording. This is the gold twisted thread that was just released on November 5th. And of course, you knew I was going to grab my bow jig, right? And we're going to do this. And I'm going to make a very tiny bow, but I'm going to make this a triple bow. So I'm going to wrap it 3 times. And then I'm going to go over and under and over and through. Okay, and I'm going to give that a good tug. And then we're going to cut that, trim those ends, take this little bow and kind of fan out those pieces so that it looks a little bit more substantial. And then we're going to take a glue dot and we'll put the glue dot there. Okay, and then I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to squish that glue dot in with my tweezers and pick up my bow at the same time. And then we'll just put that down up here, right there. And there is our card. Okay, so here's the front. And when you open it up, that's what you have. And I hope you like that. I'm so glad you guys like that. You know, I love to mix and match my sets and make the most out of everything. So let's go ahead and bring in that first card that we made. Oh, and the envelope for this card, I took the Humble Home stamp set and I made the brick house, and then I did this in smoky slate. The roof is in Memento Tuxedo Black, and then I stamped from our house to yours on the house panel there. And on the back, I also have that matching. So there you have it. Those are our projects for tonight with our mix and match Dear Santa. I hope you like those. Thanks so much. Don't forget that sale starts tonight at 11 o'clock, goes through 10:59 p.m. on the 15th. So that's Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the sale? Yes. Okay. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great week. I will be back on Thursday night on YouTube with another mix and match card. And if you don't make that, you can watch the replay. The replay for this video will be available here on Facebook and or YouTube in the morning. So we will see you all very, very soon. Oh, hi, Kara Courier. So happy to have you aboard. Thanks so much, everybody. Good night.